Hello everyone. A very good evening to all of you. I am from the IIMA Endowment Team, and it takes great pleasure to welcome you all and invite our alum, Mr Nirmal Jain, the chairman and founder of IIMA. Let me take a minute to introduce our alum. Mr. Jain, he is the first generation entrepreneur and is credited to building one of the most successful financial services group in just about 2 decades in India, at a time when research in the financial world was hardly prevalent. He has completed the PGP program from IIMA in 1989 and is also a rank holder CA as well as cost accountant. He began his career in 1989 and with the Hindustan Unilever Limited. In 1995, he founded the IIFL as an equity research company. The company pioneered in this domain and for the first time made publicly available research on the website, the Infoline website, as early as 1999. Under his visionary direction, the company then diversified into 3 distinct businesses: IIFL Finance, IIFL Wealth, and IIFL Securities. The group is backed by multi-global investors like the Fairfax Group, the private equity major General Atlantic, and the Capital Group. Today, the company and the group has over 10 million customer base and manages and advises assets for over 5 lakh crores. Mr. Jain is also the founder of the listed discounted broker 5paisa.com. The Economic Times has recognized Mr. Jain as one of the most promising business leaders in Asia. In 2018, Mr. Jain received the prestigious Senior Entrepreneur Leader Award in the Financial Services category from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. From the personal side, Mr. Jain lives in Mumbai with his wife and 3 children. He is also passionate about contributing back to the society through the IIFL Foundation. They look into programs for health and education of underprivileged children. Their flagship project, Sahelio Ke Bari, is a popular program in the CSR domains and has helped a lot of girls in Rajasthan especially. Back home at IIMA, everybody knows that he has generously contributed towards the swimming pool at the new sports complex, a much needed facility in Ahmedabad. We must tell you, sir, the pool is very popular among our community. We are delighted to have you, sir. We welcome you.
Thank you so much. First time dressed for an occasion after this, which when we formal attire. So don't get surprised to see me in this.
We thought you may be in a suit, that's why he was in it.
And you can hear me without the mic?
Yes.
I would also like to extend a warm welcome to faculty members, students, alumni team, alumni from the Ahmedabad chapter, colleagues from the IIMA community. Welcome. Before much ado, I would now like to request Shobhi Mutkal, PGP 2004 alumna and CEO of the IIMA Endowment Fund, and Mamshi Gangnam from the PGP 1 program to please begin the session with Mr. Nirmal.
The idea was to make this a little bit informal. We collected some feedback from the students who also gave us a few questions, some from the IIMA community, etc. But firstly, Pooja alluded to your background, and she mentioned how you started your journey in HUL, and then after that, of course, founded IIFL Financial Services. So what prompted the change? And did you always want to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I always wanted to become an entrepreneur, that's a fact. I come from a family of business people, and then right from childhood, I wanted to be an entrepreneur where you can create jobs, create wealth, create something new. So that was always the passion and the thought.
And
yeah, and from HUL, so those days, 94, India was opening up. Actually, India started opening up after 91. I think some of you probably would have been born or not born, maybe someone who would have been born after that. So India, 91 is a big threshold. I mean, there's a point when India changed a lot. So when we studied in 87, 89 and what we're looking forward to and what you now look forward to is so different. So in 94, when financial services opened up, foreign mutual funds were allowed for the first time. So Morgan Stanley launched its first mutual fund. UTI was also privatized and launched mutual funds. So I think things were opening up. And that time, everything was new. So for research, first I joined Motilal Oswal as a broker and set up something called Indian Equity Research, which was acronym Inquire, which was about a year and a half or so. And then I started my own research firm, which kept evolving over a period of time to what is IIMA. It's 27, 28 years.
Yeah.
I've been promoted for 28 years.
The title is the same. But the assets and AUM and other. Yeah.
So you keep moving one straight lines and you keep compounding.
Spoken like a true CEO on this one.
No, so we remain focused on financial services.
Yes.
So I think that is a really good thing for us.
Yes. I had this question later related to the sector, but since you're talking about it now, financial services also is something which is very correlated globally, right, as an industry. So what happens in global markets affects Indian markets and so on and so forth. So there have been shocks like GFC, currently you know what's been going on in the banking domain. How do you as an Indian business fortify yourself with shocks? What has been your sort of tenacious attitude in terms of just staying put and dealing with these headwinds?
I think what you say is correct statement. The financial services risk mitigation and risk control is one of the most important to survive. If you survive, then growth becomes kind of given. I mean, you will grow. So once you survive, and every time there's a crisis, a few will survive, few will not. And obviously survivors will keep growing. And risk in finance, obviously you learn. So we started, we were also on the roller coaster ride, so there were difficult times. So we started 1995, 2002, 2003, we almost became bankrupt because of one default in there was something called cyberspace and there is, so we passed through all those difficult times. But as a team, we always, one thing was very clear that we didn't want to do anything which is which compromises integrity. Because in finance, there's so much of money, people get tempted, and they do things which are really not above board, and that basically is the worst thing to do. Because once you do that, then this word of Google is too short to come back. It's like it's finished forever. So, and through difficult times, we kept learning and we kept understanding that risk is the most important thing. So when the liquidity crisis happened with IL&FS crisis, then demonetization, GST, then DHFL, Reliance, so whatever. So you have to keep your head down, you don't take undue risk, you keep liquidity as enough cushion, and keep your reputation as the honest business intact. So that helps actually. And now, now we got used to it. And in a way, this is why that you don't see so many people crowding this industry. And even if they try to, they'll shake out, most of them get out of business. And then you still see the only few players.
And I think that's a consistent reputation which I saw generally as well. And I'm from the field, so huge respect and shout out to you, particularly when you started in an era which was dominated by foreign brands as well. One thing which I is also known for, and I'm not sure how much perspective at least the students will have, but in particularly domains like wealth and asset management, and I'm correlating this with my prior background, there's a lot of innovation which I have shown. So if you talk a little bit about focus on innovation, that I think would be.
Yeah, so when we started wealth business, we were underdog because mostly banks have the money and they know who's rich, who's wealthy. And very wealthy customers, they basically prefer banks because they perceive banks as safe. And although often on banks keep going bust, still banks are perceived more. And in Indian context, say if you are dealing with SBI, HDFC, you don't have to worry about it like government of India. So people take their proxy and safety. So we actually have to do a lot of hard work. But then when we realize that what banks are not doing right or what we can probably do better rather than, is that their banks are people who are incentivized based on the quarterly target, which is revenue or income target. And anybody will do what you are incentivized for. I mean, you are anybody, it's human nature, you really can't change it. Then we realize that the short-term oriented approach is not helping the customers because, okay, to give you an example, when you think simpler, because from the same background, you can give a rocket fund and get 6% upfront. But obviously that may not be the best interest of the customer. So So what we did, we took a core team and we said that we'll incentivize you based on the stocks. And we'll give them liberal equity of the company and make them partners. So that you really don't have to chase the income numbers on a quarterly basis or a yearly basis, but you will create wealth if the business does well. And with that, we could really attract some very smart people who are also capital market people, because banks will have banks run like a factory. So there's no personalized approach. So that is why I'm making foreign bank was that well, very few of them survive in Indian context. And another thing about India is that, see, unlike European wealth, where the wealth is from one generation to next, so you really haven't earned it, you haven't worked hard for it, so you really don't, you really aren't passionate about preserving it or growing it. But in India, most of the businessmen, the wealth is first generation.
Yes.
And even big businessmen, billionaire, for 2 paisa difference, you call me, कि भाई क्या हो गया, so they are very, very passionate about it. And you really have to be smart to make sure that you deliver. And that's what we could attract good people who could deliver better value, innovate the product, which gives you slightly better return tax adjusted for the, most of the wealthy people, they don't take this, they aren't really stock market oriented. I mean, stock market is allocation. There are few equity oriented, but most of them basically want to preserve it and grow it at a pace that can just about meet inflation. So I think these are the things we got it right, that we got owners rather than employees, and incentive based on ownership rather than that one.
Absolutely. And
So one more thing, it actually took long time. So sometimes it happens slow at first and all at once. So initial 3-4 years we were just about 2,200 crores after that. Today we are 3.5 lakh crores. So once the word starts spreading, because again the wealthy people will have their own small circle.
yeah, and building trust over a period of time.
Building trust is very important.
It's very important. And it's interesting you mentioned this point about employees almost becoming like partners in this business. Because I heard that 30 people have been hired this year by IIFM.
No, I'm not very sure.
But in that age with significant recruiter from campus as well. And the other point which you sort
But
of...
this is good because when we have a startup, I always had a damn dream of recruiting, but nobody will apply to IIFM.
Now I
can get it.
Absolutely. Including my bachelor in coach area. Yeah. But one more point which you brought about was, the mindset of the Indian customer. Do you think that is changing over the period of time? Do you think people are now becoming a little more savvy? There's more support in assets, more innovation?
Yeah, that is for sure. So what is happening is that with Google,
You guys is not that audible. Okay, sure. Thank you.
Sorry. So I think access to information and knowledge has been democratized a lot. So everybody today can get access to information and can basically understand what is right, what is wrong. So much of social media content is available. Regulators basically are there trying to go out of their way to educate people. But so that way it has changed. But having said that, I would still everybody is can't have enough time and maybe enough talent also to really understand that what is the best financial product for him or her. And also people succumb to greed and short-term temptations. So it's not that, probably with the democratization of information and advice, people don't need advisors. This is my personal view. You need advisors because the people who are specialized in that field, because they spend whole of their life to learn. Obviously, you really can't match if you're doing something else. Like if you're a professor of neuroscience and marketing, obviously finance is a different field. That's really how bright you are.
Sure.
He is my bachelor.
But what about technology? Is that disrupting the need for advisor, changing the way advisors live, for example?
So technology is changing is very interesting because it is empowering advisor more than anybody else, because the advisor can basically service and can absorb a lot more information and can service more clients. But at the, when we talk about say discount broking or a low end, where the people have smaller money and I think technology is also helping them to get better service and better price. So technology has been very interesting. So when internet broking came, so earlier somebody Morgan Stanley is placing order for 100,000 shares and some customer is placing order for 100 shares. Obviously, people have a price for service cost. So you really can't service 100 customers. But the technology, what happens that whether the 1,000 orders of 100 shares or 1 order of 100,000 shares, the same. They get the access to same information, same portfolio, same advice. In a way, most of the time, similar service also. So technology has really empowered and changed a lot. And one interesting thing that all of many youngsters should be excited about, India is way ahead of rest of the world, including US and developed world, in terms of putting the technology stack together, particularly for financial services. So you got an Aadhaar, in India interest rates are high. In US now they've gone up, but even then people are 4-5%. They on PayPal and all they can charge 2.5% for pay, which is bizarre, which is ridiculous. In India you can make 5 rupees payment without any charge. So I think India has gone way ahead and still is moving because with the account aggregators, with OCAIN, with DigiLocker, things are really changing significantly. And many years ago we had a case where somebody had fudged IIMA the birth certificate. But we had suspicion and we could figure out that we could actually call up and get the information. But with DigiLocker, even your academic and medical records will become digitally available all linked to your mobile.
And now IIMA degrees are going to have a blockchain verification. So that's also
Because IIMA which is digital find out. If it tracks another IIMA, we have to discover.
I understand. There's also been many new asset classes emerging, and also cryptocurrency is a domain which a lot of people are very much interested in. Your views on that? Is it here to stay?
See, I'm really old-fashioned in this, and I'm not a big fan of cryptocurrency. And money created out of thin air, I'm really worried because I don't know how long this will sustain or not sustain, but it has the capacity to create barter economic value. But don't confuse crypto with blockchain; they are completely different. So, on blockchain you can run crypto also in many other things. But I think crypto is something where risk is very high, is very volatile. And you talk about mining and using electricity, but I don't think there's any real substance or any backing of any real asset or a sovereign. So I'll be very, very concerned about it. So I'm not really, but blockchain as a concept obviously has a amazing thing because it can change everything in terms of what we do because it gives authenticity and which is good. Which the basically the distributed ledger and that's a completely different thing than crypto.
Yeah.
But crypto, I think, see many times what happens that things take so long to be proved right or wrong, so I don't want to stick my neck out, but I'll not put my money on crypto.
So in light of all of this, what do you think should be the view from a regulatory perspective? RBI and SEBI, recently they just announced what they're doing in terms of money laundering on crypto, for example, in terms of regulations. Do you find, and SEBI, for example, when they brought about the changes in the advisory model versus the distribution, so much changes happened. Is it for the good? What else can the regulator do?
So maybe two questions. So I think regulatory changes about regulator RBI, SEBI have become fairly proactive and very professional that way. I mean, we must compliment them for that. Even crypto and all those things, RBI has been really quick to understand and quickly come out with regulations and even even government for that matter has been fairly proactive. And therefore, many of these scams or these things are nipped in the bud and we don't come to know about it. So that is not a good part of it. I really, but obviously there will be some opposition, some this thing, people will never know how things will actually pan out. But that is about the regulatory part of it. About advising the mutual fund fees, see, Madhvi Puri is mentioned best in it.
Yes.
You should follow it and she's doing a great job, so I think, actually, in a short time, say,
Yes.
people may or may not agree with everything because every initiative or every decision will have pros and cons. I mean, there is no solution which can be widely accepted and which cannot have any negative. But you will balance and see what is good, what is not good. So in India, when we talk about democratization of investment for small customers, one thing that has been done quite well is cutting down the fees and charges to the consumer.
Yes.
And now whether that is taken to an extent where it may become counterproductive, we don't know. But at this point in time, I think lots of initiatives that have been done by SEBI at a fairly fast pace have been very, very practical. So what happens? People, anybody who's hurt, whose income is hurt, probably might complain. So if you take away, but if you see the broader intent and the thrust is in a positive direction.
Yeah, no, I agree. Even from the philanthropic perspective, which is what we look at now, there are ideas like social AI, social bonds, social exchange, which are coming before. work in that
It's
direction.
good to see that India is moving quickly on all these things.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, India should be 10 years, 20 years behind most of these new initiatives.
True. So, with all of this background, where do you see IIFL Group growing in the next 10 years? What's your vision? You've also done, I believe, a rebranding recently, 361 for your wealth business. How does that play into it?
So, we have one more brand called Fireside actually.
Yes.
And these are also alphanumeric brand. And the 361 is the set of customers that it caters to. It's completely different. So, the HNIs and the HNIs. And our brand basically caters to retail customers in securities as well as in finance. And 5 Paisa is a digital brand. So brands basically distinguish the proposition also and can allow people to have sharper focus and move ahead. So I think in next 10 years, I see tremendous opportunities. So whatever hard work we done for 27, 28 years, of course, even last 27, 28 years, last 10 years have been very good. But we are in a very sweet spot as it looks like. Because first time we are seeing that India is really a preferred destination for investment and is becoming a real choice for MNCs to outsource manufactured products. And which is happening for many things that we have done right and many things that we have done nothing, but maybe China, US, Russia, whatever is happening is also helping India. It is helping India both ways. So one is that MNCs are looking at setting up first time, seriously a base in India. India is far, far away. So in scale we are nowhere there. And I think it requires a lot of work, a lot of effort, but still things are moving in the right direction. What matters for people sitting here or us is the delta. So like suppose the electronic exports are 9 billion in India and 500 billion in China. We are nowhere, but when 9 becomes 18 or 20, 30 or 50, it's a big thing for us because the industry and there are tremendous opportunities for all of us. So next 10 years, if the economy does well, financial services also do well. And most of the times is relative. So some of you are from IIT, I do know RG. That is always the important thing rather than seeing things in absolute manner. Because so if China can't grow, China will have serious constraints going forward. And one of them is funny population because the one child policy will start running very soon. All these factors put together, I think next 10 years India should do it. And if India does well, then we are really well placed to consolidate our position in financial services, all the sectors that we are in, and grow.
And is your business going to be more India-centric, or do you think you'll also be attracting a lot of assets from overseas, for example, or setting up more offices overseas?
So amongst quite a few mistakes that we made till now, one was overseas. In 2009-10, basically we were the first local to get license in Sri Lanka. We set up full-fledged offices in Singapore. And 2011 was a bad year. When we started, we realized that it makes tremendous losses in making. So it is long term because we realized that that like I think this alchemist or whatever. You go around the world and just figure out that the gold was underneath you, the treasure was underneath you. So the whole world is coming. India is growing so fast. But outside India, our focus is on NRI in India as well. People want to invest in India. So we are an India-focused company. So it's unlikely that we'll go and say that we're going to advise a Chinese stock or UK stock. But we focus on India. And outside we have offices where the institutional investors and NRIs want to invest in India.
Understood. So that's comprehensive and coherent.
I think that's the question.
I was just wondering whether you were planning to do something in Gift City.
Yeah, actually we already applied for license. Gift City is very interesting proposal and we are definitely want to do something. So set up an office and do. So it becomes a good alternative to, and it basically again will service NRIs and Indian customers mostly. And social clients.
Could we have more options?
I think Gift City took very long time.
In fact,
Not as, much longer than swimming pool, but still it's come on a.
I was waiting for that. So,
It's come out beautifully, so I just saw it.
it actually looks.
It really is.
My wife goes there quite frequently. Just another question on that one. I was with a bunch of Indian Foreign Service officers earlier in the week today. Most of them are ambassadors abroad. And they had a very specific ask of going to Gift City. And one of the reasons for that ask is that a lot of NRIs, wherever they are located, Hong Kong, Singapore, South Africa, London, New York, they are looking for ways to invest in India or to bring their money to India. And they are looking at Gift City as the conduit
basically the funds that we can launch, the family offices for most of the wealthy customers that we can set up. So instead of setting up the Singapore, we can set it up in Houston. They come up with a concept called FIF, which is Family Investment Fund or something. And many of the foreign clients want to invest in India. They can also set up their offices there. We service them in any case. So whether you talk about Capital, Fidelity, TO, they are all our clients. They invest in India. So even alternate investment fund can be set up there. When you are getting foreign capital, instead of setting up the fund in Mauritius, you can set it up in Egypt. A lot of things can be done. Still investors are a little crazy about that whether policy framework will not change for the region government. Because India people are always a little concerned, but over a period of time, I think confidence will be done.
So when you say that part about the policy change, what particular dimensions concern foreign investors?
So the taxes and everything else, which is now treated as foreign, and so if foreigners are not taxed kind of a thing. But when the government changes, typically there is a perception which may or may not be correct, because that probably you should tell us. But people perceive that if for any reason 5 years later, 3 years this time or later, and the government changes, then there are tendencies to undo the thing that previous government has done and change policy, and sometimes retrospectively. That can kill them, and that is why they are still a little hesitant, but they are coming. But also, any foreign financial center requires certain things. Gujarat has prohibition, many other restrictions, so those things also have to be sorted out. Lifestyle changes and all those. But then there's a tremendous potential because from geographically, from time zone wise, India is very well placed.
I have one final question before I hand over to Vamshi, who will ask you more about your experiences at IIMA. But this is going back to the part that you always wanted to be an entrepreneur. There are many today in the younger generation who want to do that. I think the opportunities are immense, there's funding opportunities. हमारे ज़माने में people said placements करो and then join a big bank, right? Like that was your best option. These days, I think a lot of people are generally interested in starting up. What advice would you give them? And any takeaways you want generally which they can invite from?
So every journey is different. So by the time I worked for 5 years to build some savings, maybe it was really, when I look back, that was good. Because I worked with Hindustan Lever, where you understand how scale is built. Many times you become an entrepreneur and you have not worked anywhere, then you really don't have experience of an organization. And how different functions work, how business are scaled up, what is HR, what is finance, what is operations, what is control, what is this. Ideally, if you become a startup and now people get capital, they hire. But if you work somewhere, that is one thing that I'll always say that's a good thing. Two is that build up on your core competency, either because of academic or because of real passion. Then you have better chances, rather than going by the fad or going by passion or thinking that this is good or this is where I'll make money. And or this way I'll get the capital very easily. That is not the way, that should not be the criteria for you to choose a business. But if you are an engineer, you understand something, or you are really a foodie and you want to become, and you understand food, so your core competency either by education or by your passion is something which is always will improve your odds of success significantly. Rather than trying to make a business model where you see an opportunity and you say I'll build skill, so that is different. The couple of more things. One is that you should try and identify, although it's difficult, it's just PCR management jargon, that what is the real need of customer that you want to fulfill, which is not being fulfilled, or how you will fulfill it better, by better price, better service, better product. That is very important. And organizations, actually businesses, should be driven by profit. So you should have clear understanding that you shouldn't count as valuation based on revenue, valuation based on number of customers. And there will be prospectors that people raise billions of dollars. The prospectors, they write that this company may not make any profit ever. So like if you are bidding for IPL, you can say I may not score even single run ever, but I will invest. But it doesn't work like this, So, and when there is a crisis like this, what we are seeing now, when the valuation really went down, then there is a shakeout. And many people who don't have a profit model in place, they are not able to raise the next round of capital. And then survival becomes difficult. And so then you go back forward in life. So be cautious. I mean, you have to take risk, but you should take calculated risk. You know that this is my domain, my skill. I identified something which is really where I can do something better than the rest of the world. And I have a clear path to profitability. And that is how you should judge. Opportunities for entrepreneurs will be tremendous in the next 30 years than what they were in the last 30 years, and I will learn.
focus on fundamentals. I think when markets are very hot, it gets lost a little bit. And I also wanted to point out, since CI is also here, that we've generously contributed to them also from IIFL Foundation towards innovation and learning. So much appreciated. Student and fun part.
Very good evening, sir. It's good to have you here back on campus. So after a bit of serious talk, we thought that it would be better if we can switch gears a bit. So at the outset, we'd like to know a few insights of your life at IIMA. We'd like to know a bit about your life at IIMA. Like, what kind of student were you? Were you a nerdy student? Were you a fun-loving student? If you could just try to put it.
Two of my classmates are there. So
it's good to know that Professor Saha is your classmate.
Step out. Should we step out?
Yeah. you can say about you can talk freely and frankly about. So two of my classmates are here, so I don't have to really talk about.
But how?
Maybe Arvind is just like
I'm on the other side of the table. Right? I have to play the role of a professor.
So me and Ashwini, we did some pranks, we are having fun. We are learning and having fun. So it was that we are not really spending. I was not one of those who were spending time or chasing grades or because I had written my chartered accountancy and I thought that's good enough to give livelihood and job. So we were here. The great learning, but the learning was not only the classroom or your library, it was outside. So I really enjoyed it. So it was on the outside the chai and Habar, Soma, pantry, ground, everywhere.
Things have changed a lot now. A quick couple
But I would say that, and I'm a little worried about this, and maybe again, probably I don't understand, but people are social media a lot. And that is something which is, so in our time, okay, we used to take approach from parents and do it, now people take approach from friends and do it. But the social media, excess of it can be damaging, because then what happens is you don't have real friends, so you have deep emotions and relationships. And if you are depressed, you go to Instagram and say hi, but then really not the source of it. That is not the way to long term. Those are not real friends actually. You don't have the emotional. I mean, after how many years now? 33 years, 34, 33 years. They are not going to come and sit here. Those Instagram friends. They are real friends, and they will spend their time and say that okay, we'll give you topic.
A couple of quick follow-up questions, sir. Which section were you in and which dorm were you in? Which section were you in and which dorm were you in? So.
I was in dorm 4.
Okay.
And section B. And there were only 3 ABCs, so.
So now we have 5 sections actually.
Dorm 4 was very good dorm actually. So there were 2 girls dorm 1 and dorm 5. And there is class also. And quick access to go downstairs, go to the pantry that time.
And everyone in this room would be interested to know your response to this question. The question is, what made you contribute towards the swimming pool at IIMA? I'm sure that we all have been waiting for years.
Actually, IIM is probably one of the top or one of the best institutions in the country. And not any sports or any recreation is really big. And when I went out with my children going abroad and went out to see and we realized the kind of infrastructure and thing people have. And swimming pool in particular because there sometimes you want to play some sport but your classmate, your friend is preparing for the next test and you want to be talking. Swimming is something you do alone. So I thought that with Arvind and my good friends, so we decided that okay, let's do some specific contribution rather than general purpose. And it was actually Ahmedabad became very hot in the summer. And swimming pool was really missed, not only by me, but many students who have studied here. And the sports complex also. I was really happy that not only swimming pool, but much larger sports complex has come. It's really good. And if you want to read a book, there's a book called SPARK, S-P-A-R-K, but you should read it. It says that your academic performance improves if you are doing something here. And that is like actually helping grow on a very large base of students. So, it's an integral part of life, and I am sure that everybody is enjoying and using it.
And we all know that the life at IIMA is very intense, the competition is very intense. I mean, if you could just jog your memory a bit, is there anything that you particularly remember that an incident or series of moments that have set you up for the road ahead in your life? Road ahead in your life. I mean, after graduating, you got into HUL. Like, what at IIMA has made your?
In IIMA days.
No, I mean, so given that the experiences at IIMA, how did they really play out in your life after?
The experience at IIMA was great. I think it's a significant contribution in being whatever success that an entrepreneur achieves, there's no doubt about it. Here, because I had done chartered accountancy before, and then I've come here. But here you're forced to interact, work in a group, and obviously everybody has ego, personality issues, they get sorted out. You actually discover that how diverse views and thinking can be. Even the classrooms run at a very fast pace in terms of the curriculum and everything, which is very good. And then the network which also helps throughout your life. So, I think it was a great learning. The case-based study, the case study-based learning, teaching, these are new. But more important, I think the most that we learned was interacting in groups, either for project or even for non-project. So just interacting with such brilliant people from very diverse functions and geographies was amazing. Because if you're coming from Bombay, you see now the world is integrating much faster from Bengal, from Madras, and from brilliant people, but very different culture, we brought up very differently. So that was really amazing. And fortunately, we did not have Facebook and those things, so we also allowed to talk to.
So we have a few more questions, but given that we are running out of time, I think it's time to.
Can you ask questions?
Yeah, please.
So, you're running a company which has 3 other companies, which are, okay, sorry. You're running a company which is significantly affected by macroeconomics, especially given the financial volatility we have seen over the last 3 to 4 years. And it's not that simply IIFL securities or IIFL finance or IIFL wealth management is not affected by a single person 50 basis point change in interest rates by Fed or by the RBI. How do you manage to stay calm in this storm? Because it's not just one, it's your complete business which stands at this risk, and you have to mitigate how you have to navigate through these routes when nobody is able to understand what the economy or the global economy will look like in the next 6 months. But you have to make sure you run a company which is handing out money and also borrowing money at the same time from people.
So actually, once again, staying calm is personality, and you're going from inner self. Practice meditation sometimes. I have not done that before, but I will need it maybe. And the word becomes more volatile. So I think you get used to it. You get used to it, and it's again, you should basically understand that again it's a relative word. So whatever is hitting me is also hitting my competitors, whatever. And so maybe I'll give a small story about how one should worry about it. See what happens in a jungle, in a God-forsaken place, in a camp in a tent. If a tiger is coming from just some distance that you can see, you get scared of it. It will be my first situation that the market will be I don't know. But I'll tell you stories. In the camp, there are 2 guys who were just sitting there, sleeping in the night, and they suddenly hear sound of that there's from distance some tiger is just running towards them. So one guy started wearing sneakers very heavily. So other guy asked him, can you run faster than tiger? He said, no, I will run faster than you. So what happens that if everybody comes in and you also confident, but as long as you are doing better than your peers, you are safe. So. Somebody who's your peer, colleague or whatever, you are okay.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yes.
Can you tell us something about why NSE is not able to list its shares?
A lot of politics and all those things, but I think NSE will list itself. So there was co-location and all those things. So in India, anything can get into a spiral of regulatory, and it became politically sensitive. But I have a feeling it will get listed very soon, maybe in few next 6
DSE has been listed and DSE has been listed and it's doing well. And I am sure if NSE.
And this question I can ask Sean can answer very well because he's also, I think, a
like you have been observing this industry for many decades, very little has been done effectively as far as investor education is concerned. What SEBI and NSE does is to just give statutory advertisements warning people, don't do this, don't do that. It's like putting on a cigarette pack, it is injurious to your health. But real education, empowering the investors, making them knowledgeable. You don't have very good trainers like Ashwini. You require maybe 100 people like Ashwini who can really train the investors, and then SEBI will put its foot down saying you can't do this, you can't do that. You look at different things. Most of the countries, you might be aware very well, much more than me. USA does not have single stock futures. We have. Are we trying to create investors? How many multi-baggers were there in the last 5 years as compared to 1980, 85, 1995, 2000, 2005, 2010? We won't find multi-baggers. A, because of free pricing, and B, very little is done for the investors. Because you have a lot of FIs, hedge funds, mutual funds, etc. just taking a lot of money, and they don't have expectation of very high returns. In fact, only Indian investors. So that is the second part. But since you are so well involved in this entire industry, please consider investor education as a paramount need of the investors on a very focused manner.
Can I answer that? So, Nirmal, thank you for mentioning my name, but what has happened recently is that the government has recognized that
You didn't tell me to do that.
investor education is a valid CSR activity. So you can actually do investor awareness and investor education as a part of CSR. And some of the large corporates, Kotak has done some very successful programs. Axis has just started, and we were just standing outside. I was just telling people I'm sending a proposal for IIFL Foundation. So investor education is now a recognized CSR activity. You have to structure it in a certain way. There are obviously compliance requirements and all that. But I think that's a big thing which has happened now. So.
No, I think what you're saying is right, that things are, they are spreading at its own pace, what is happening. And the CSR can be a game changer because there are lot of money available.
In fact, someone in this room is exploring a program with us in financial literacy.
But as he said, that maybe 10 or 10, thousands of people are required to achieve this objective for the nation.
But making it CSR compliant is a big step. I said making it CSR compliant now is a big step in terms of funding and policy.
You rightly pointed out the major problem in the industry is reciprocity risk, which 99% of investors are not able to understand how to go.
This can reward the two sides of the coin. Once, if you want a multi-bagger and more return than the institutional investors, obviously take this. So the economy and therefore the capital market can generate return at certain pace, and but people are not happy with that, and that's why they take this. But I think this investor education, a lot of effort is being put in now.
Any last question? Yes, I had one for you. So, since we're talking about risk and reward, now green investing, sustainable investing, ESG, all of these are new themes which are emerging. Green investing, sustainability investing, ESG, all of these are emerging themes. What do you see as IIFL's role in some of these domains?
So, I think it's a good, now it's become really relevant and urgent to address this issue. And all corporates, all youngsters have to wake up to this, that nobody, you can't think that this is somebody else's responsibility and we just, it's not my problem. So every corporate, I think we in our housing, we have done, so there's an architect called R.K. Lal, who is an expert in this, we have involved him, and we are helping developers and how we build green buildings, or which are sustainable resources. And India, the challenge is that you have to do sustainable and still at a lower cost. So it's not like, in Germany, so we do sustainable, 50% higher budget up to, it doesn't work like this. But a lot of innovation work is happening with local material, a lot of work is happening in climate, but I think, as the whole world is still lagging behind and we have to catch up fast. Because the problems are now becoming visible everywhere. So Argentina had the worst summer ever. Heat waves which have never been seen ever in record. So everywhere we are seeing this, unseasonal heat, cold, everything. It's dangerous.
Okay, I think on the Q&A part, let me hand over to you to run this one. And the voters' thanks, please invite Andrew.
Thank you for the interactive session. May I please invite Anurag for the vote of thanks?
So, thank you, Nirmal, for coming over. It was an absolute pleasure to have you over here. And I'm sure, listening to you and just to take the food analogy, you just had the appetizer right now, and there's a lot more appetite here to have the full course. And I'm sure a lot of these students would love to learn a lot more from you. And maybe we can call you over sometime again if you can work with you and see that you have a bit more time in your schedule.
No.
So that we can, yeah.
I'm always happy coming to IIMA.
Thank you for coming over, and also I thank the Endowment Fund for putting this together, and the Students Service Nations Cell for doing that, and everybody else here in the audience, the faculty, the alumni. So thank you all for doing this, and I would like to invite Vamsi to just present appreciation.
Next time, the commenter should also be given by the people.
Sir, actually, if Nirmal sir, if it's not a problem, can all the students join in handing you over the memento?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Yeah, ready? Yes. Wait a moment. Yes. Thank you.